Alright, here's an update on North American weather here. We're going to get to an area that I don't normally talk about. And let's take a look at southwestern Texas, Midland-Odessa area, and southern New Mexico here. Look at this. We've got winter storm warnings for the Midland-Odessa area, El Paso, and extending on over into southern New Mexico, southwest or south of Albuquerque here. And this is where we've got anywhere from 4 to 8 up to 6 to 12 inches. Midland-Odessa itself will get probably 3-5 inches of snow out of this. And this is with the disturbance you can see on the satellite picture coming off the Mexican plateau here. It's not associated with any front. It is a lifting mechanism that's coming off the Mexican plateau here, and we're going to continue to see that come out of the southwest here. And for today, tonight, and early tomorrow, we'll continue to see this heavy snow develop across these areas. Carlsbad could see anywhere from 8 to 12 inches just south of Midland-Odessa, heading on over towards Fort Stockton and southern New Mexico. So that's a bit of an interesting area. And let's zoom on up into east of Lake Ontario, or Oswego County, heading on over towards just north of Utica and over towards Montague, just area of Watertown on southward. This is where we could get a band of lake effect snow developing, anywhere from 2 to 4 widespread across the Tug Hill Plateau here, and possibly upwards of 6 inches, 6 to 8 inches in some of these areas, especially areas like Montague, with this system on the north side of this warm front. Behind this cold front here in the Midwest, look at this cold air. And before I head to the Pacific Northwest here, let's take a look at, go all the way up into northwestern Canada here. This is where we've got temperatures in the -20 to -30 degree range. So that is the piece of cold air, the part of the puzzle I've been talking about for later on in January, that's going to come screaming down. And I've been looking at a lot of models, including the GFS and the Korean model, which actually bring a lot of this chunk of cold air out of northwestern Canada and bring it in after January 19th across much of the United States, the lower 48. So that's something we're going to look at. But let's zoom in on the Pacific Northwest. We do have a freezing rain advisory here in the northern and central Cascades of northern Oregon, and heading on up into southern Washington, where we have freezing rain. Below 2,500 feet, we have an inversion layer, so it's trapping some of that moisture. We're getting freezing rain, light icing, up to 1/10 to possibly 2/10 of an inch of icing, possibly, indicated here in the pink. So what does that leave us with? We're going to look at Florida here. We have a stalled out front. We've got the jet stream pretty far to the south here, and we have this moisture band, but it's a lot further east than where it was. We've got these flash flood warnings in effect from Mississippi over to Alabama. So let's take a look at precipitation liquid equivalent. Most of it along the Gulf Coast, a little bit up here in the northeast, and with the next system in the Pacific Northwest, we have up to 1/4 to 1/2 inch. So let's take a look at weather hazards. Some snow across the Great Lakes, heavy rain here, but this is where the heavy snow over southwestern Texas, southern New Mexico, and a little bit of rain and some freezing precipitation up here in the Pacific Northwest. So what are we looking at here in terms of the NAO index is going negative, and I'll take a look at this. By January 16th, some of our models take the NAO index all the way down to -3. So that is a sign winter is not done, and do not count winter out. Winter just began on December 21st here in 2012. So it's only been a couple weeks. So we have a lot of winter to look forward to. And let's take a look at some of the model data. You can see some of the model runs I'm going to do here. Show a brief warm up next week. Temperatures with this ridge all the way up into the Ohio Valley in the northeast, pushing 40 and 50 in many areas, and the ridge very pronounced. The trough begins to develop here in the northwest, and that's the beginnings of a positive oscillation here in the North Pacific, which is going to push the warm air over the Pacific and bring that cold air and block the North Pole, basically, and the only place the temperatures will be able to come crashing down is to the south. Now, before I take a look at any more of those models, here's the snowfall forecast. Here's east of Lake Ontario. Here's that band of 3 to 5 inches. And here is most importantly Texas, southwestern Texas, New Mexico. There's that stripe, that band of snow, the heaviest amounts here in the 8 to 12 inches from south of Midland, Odessa, Carlsbad, and heading on over into southern New Mexico. So, there you have it, there's snowfall totals, and other than that, we have the chunk of cold air that's going to continue to drop out of the northern areas of Canada and the Yukon, and don't let that warm up next week fool you, because things are going to really start to change the third week of January. I'm meteorologist Mark Molnar. Don't forget to like us on Facebook at MeteoMark, and here's a 4-day forecast for my hometown viewers from Binghamton to Elmira and the northern tier counties of Pennsylvania.